Sterling.
There we are.
All right, I'm getting right into it.
Go.
Anthony Richardson's fun.
Yes.
It's fun.
We like fun.
Yeah.
Especially in the preseason.
Yes. He may end up he may end up the all-time leading rusher in Colts history. He may end up leading the NFL in rushing. But Anthony Richardson is fun.
Let me ask you this. Do you pay more attention to what you see, or do you look at the stat line and say, ooh, like 5 of 17 for 70 some odd yards, whatever it was? Do you pay any attention to the stats, or are you just watching and saying, hey, this is good, this is fun, this is athletic?
Here's what I do. I pay attention. I have an internal thing where somebody can play or can't play. And sometimes it's right, sometimes it's wrong, but mostly it's right. And I watch Anthony Richardson and I thought to myself, he's going to be able to really play. Like, I don't know, he threw some passes where it's over people, it's all that kind of stuff. But when I'm watching him, I'm like, oh man.
You go, ooh.
I'll give you an example. Yeah. Everybody got mad at me about Devin Ebanks at Indiana. Devin Ebanks was this huge recruit. I watched him shoot around, and I told Knopf, I told Meyer, he ain't as good as we're all talking about. Now, Devin Ebanks was a good college player. He was a guy playing.
You can see it.
You see it in shoot around. You can see it. Sometimes you can see it in, I don't know, in little things. But when I watch Richardson, clearly an athlete. Clearly a leader. I mean, I thought he was a leader guy. I thought he was like, okay, Colts fans, you got yourself a leader. But I don't know if he can throw in an NFL game enough to, hear boom, boom, boom to over the course of 4 quarters to win you a game throwing the ball, but not going to have to because he's going to scramble.
He has a feel. Like when you watch him, he does the right, like in the pocket. He feels the pressure. Yeah. He gets out at the right time. He's not skittish about it. He doesn't leave early. He doesn't get rid of it too quick. He plays at the pace of the game. And when he gets out into space, holy hell. Well, you're like, ooh, you kind of rise up and watch.
I'm not going with you yet. I'm not going with that yet. I'm not. He was playing against second, third.
He's playing against a 2.
And he's not. And here's what I would do if I were a coach. I would watch the film of exactly what you said.
Yeah.
Because maybe the most important thing of playing against Anthony Richardson is exactly that, not letting him escape. I would want to know what consistent tendencies did Anthony Richardson have that allowed him to get out of the pocket. Does he like to go to his right? Can he read both ways? And I would scheme the living shit out of that.
Yeah.
I would not. I'm telling you, I'm watching him throwing like, he's not terrible, but I don't know that yet. But I do know this, the one thing that he did last night, which is the first time I've really watched him, was he got out of the pocket, to your point. But I'm not willing to say he's got a feel yet until it's a defensive coordinator watching video, reading,
with real guys.
Yes, and reading his tendencies.
Yeah.
Because everybody has tendencies in everything. I learned about tendencies like in I don't know, grade school, when it hit me one day, we don't have assigned seats, but everybody sits in their same seat. Like, you don't have assigned seats, but I knew Andy Atar was going to sit over there, and I always sat right here.
Yeah.
We all have tendency. And
you got front row people, you got middle of the room people, you got back rows.
Regardless of whether it's assigned or not, it's just where people would sit every day.
Yeah.
So you, as a basketball player, you have tendencies. Like I was listening, who is it? Kenny Smith was talking about Michael Jordan couldn't dribble more than 2 dribbles. Shut up. That was like, but even Michael Jordan had a tendency that they thought.
Right.
So I want to know, does he like to move up and then out? Like I always thought this about Tom Brady. You can edge rush him all you want. Tom Brady and Peyton Manning. You don't even need to edge rush him. You put guys in the middle, you rush from the middle because he's not running this way, he's stepping up.
Right.
I'm anxious to see Richardson. I'm really looking forward to it.
There's another thing that he does. He does 2 things that kind of bug me. Is he'll spin away.
That's bad business.
Right. That's bad
business. That gets you killed.
Yep.
That you lose
against
sight.
ones.
That gets you killed.
Right. And then you're judging him against 2s, and you say, "Oh, he's got escapability. Like a guy's got kind of a hand on him, and he gets loose." That doesn't happen with 1s as easily as it does with 2s. So I want to see that too. I want to see that on on September 10th what he looks like against real guys who are coming for real in a scheme that's built to kind of limit him.
You're so right. And an example of what you just said, Urban Meyer told me, and this is when he was a college coach, he goes, being a really good tackler is important. And for some reason, we got talking about it. And he's like, you know what the NFL does? They bring you down. Guy gets his hands on you, you're going down.
Yeah.
Guys are great tacklers. Like, not good, great tacklers. So to your point, hey, look, a second string NFL player for the Colts is a really good football player.
Yeah.
But he's not a first string football player.
Right.
And then there's a superstar level. So I'm anxious to see. I mean, Colts fans, I got to tell you, I know there's questions, but the first time I watched him last night, I'm like, hey, wait a second here. This dude's pretty good. He's got a chance to be pretty good.
At the very least, he's got charisma.
Right.
And this team utterly lacks charisma at any level in any position group.
Yes.
So please, dear God, give us somebody that draws the eye and makes us want to watch his team.
This team is my wardrobe, and your wardrobe. I have nothing. My wardrobe sucks. Like I'm like
just grab a shirt. And
oh
go.
God, yes.
Yeah.
Like I was wearing my shirt this morning. And by the way, you got to keep watching our show. Listen to his show in the morning and put mine on YouTube. We're on at the same time. Well, you're on what time? 7 to 10.
On YouTube, I'm on at 6:45, and then on the radio, I'm on 7 to 9.
Yeah. So listen to him in the morning, watch him, and then jump over and watch me on Outkick, and you'll see our wardrobes on YouTube. They're horrible. I was watching me today. I looked at my background. I'm like, I love this shirt. I think I look cool in this shirt. And I was watching the Outkick show. I'm like, this shirt sucks. I look like a 1,000-year-old man. And then you went up to me with a horse shit shirt. The Colts are our wardrobe, except for Anthony Richardson. I got no problem with that bird thing.
No, good. Have fun.
Right.
Preseason. And if Eagles fans are kind of rankled by it,
good.
Who gives a damn?
Who
we
cares?
Play there once every 6 years. I could give a shit less.
Hey, didn't last year, what's-his-face, Sirianni, this is for Frank Reich when they beat the Colts? Fuck off.
You know what? And he did this last night. It really kind of bothered me. He took all 3 timeouts at the end of the first half for no reason. And he took all 3 timeouts at the end of the game last night. They're down 2 scores, 4 seconds left. He calls his last timeout, and I think the clock had stopped. He was just being a dick.
Yeah.
Nick Sirianni is a dick to his opponents, a dick to his opposing fans.
I disagree. He's just mad at the Colts.
You think?
Yeah, I mean, that would be my thing. When he ran into the crowd last year, this is for Frank Reich, remember? He's just mad at the Colts for firing Frank Reich.
And I liked the guy. He was always great with the media. I liked him. He was a friendly guy, and he would tell you things.
Yeah.
But,
all right, Jonathan Taylor. I got word today that the Miami Dolphins tried to trade for him, and the Colts said no.
Good.
That's the first official Jonathan Taylor, official sighting. Does that make sense? You know what I'm talking about? You know what I mean?
Pony up. They're not just going to hand over Jonathan Taylor
would you
for
take a 2 and a 4?
A bucket of scraps. They don't have a 4. They got a 1 and 2, 5, 6,
Who?
7. Dolphins.
No, I'm saying in general, would you take a 2 and a 4? I was driving back last night from Maryville, and I was listening to some guys, and they're like, "Well, you're not going to get any better than a 2 and a 4."
I get it. That plus
would you take
up
a 2 and
to
a 3
value, but not with the Dolphins because the Dolphins are going to be in the high 50s or mid 50s.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Mid 50s or what? Oh, with the 2.
Round.
With the 2, yeah.
If they're like
would
34,
would you take a 2 and a 4 with
the Texans? Yes.
I'm not trading them in the league.
In the division, no. But I mean,
actually, let me ask you a question.
To suck.
They project to suck. So what if they're in the division? Does that matter to you? If you can if you can get a 1 from a division team.
Here's my rule, and this goes back to baseball with the Cubs. I don't make a deal with the general manager who I know for a fact is smarter than I am.
Who?
And Chris Ballard's got to be smart enough to know who can get over on him. And how about Howie with the Eagles? Howie with the Eagles has pulled the wool over the Colts' eyes a few times. I would not trade with Howie anymore. But with the Dolphins will overpay. The Raiders will overpay on occasion. You can kind of get Browns. I'm all over a deal with the Browns. Let's go. Go. Browns, you get the phone call what is that area code? 216 or whatever, wherever Cleveland. Hello. Yeah. Okay. Just instant yes. Just tell me.
I think the best place for Jonathan Taylor is here.
I do too.
I mean,
he's a fit here.
Yeah.
Yep.
You really.
He's going to run in space. It's going to work for him.
You've been to camp.
Yeah.
How is the dynamic with Jonathan Taylor in his sweatpants and his hoodie and what is that like?
He's talking to the players. He's good with the players, and the players say it's just same old JT. He's in the meetings. He's helping. He's supportive. Blah blah blah. Which they would say even if he was like huddled in a corner with his head in his hands.
Right.
But with the fans, I don't like it. Like with the fans, people are yelling at him because there's 6,500 people there at most of the workouts.
Positive or negative?
And they're like,
yelling?
Jonathan. And he just keeps his head down. He doesn't look. He doesn't acknowledge. He doesn't wave, nothing. And you don't need to go sign autographs, but a little wave, a little hello, a little smile. There's nothing wrong with that.
I think yesterday I saw was the anniversary, 4 years, I think it is, of Luck, and he got booed off. And I watched the video last night, and I thought to myself, and I wanted to ask you, is Jonathan Taylor getting booed at camp? Is there negativity at camp?
Nope. Yelling his name.
Yelling his name.
Yep.
Not boo, get the plane, you bum, none of that crap. Or maybe a guy or two.
You know what? The only difference to me between Jonathan Taylor and Jim Irsay in terms of who should be booed for this specific thing is that Jim Irsay runs around handing out autographed $100 bills.
Right.
If Jonathan Taylor did that, I think people would be like, I like that Jonathan Taylor.
He understands our fan base. Because we're all suckers that want money. That's what we got. But it is interesting because last year, Kenny Moore did the same thing, but he didn't do it in regular camp. He did it in OTAs, right?
Right.
So Kenny Moore's sitting there, but he did. How does this end? Now,
that was out of sequence. That was even a year earlier than Jonathan Taylor.
Yes.
So it didn't make any sense.
What's going to happen
here? Do that. I think he comes back here. I don't think
does he play?
It would be so odd for a team to pony up. You better, or you're going to freeze your contract. And you're back
question:
in the same next year.
When does he play?
It could. He might have to get in shape for a while. He might open the season on PUP for 4 weeks and then come back, maybe. But he's not going to want to sit in limbo and have that 4.3 staring at him in 2024.
I know.
So
this eliminates a year for him.
Yeah, right.
In the contract.
And then they could franchise him if they wanted and just be total pricks about it. But I don't see that happening.
You don't anymore? Whoa. That's like a lead. Because you and I have said this. You and I have talked on this show that the Colts have all the leverage, and it includes the franchise. I'm going to play you, not extend you, unless we think it's of value to us. And then we're going to franchise you and franchise. That's what you and I have said. Now you're changing the tune. That's too much of a prick move.
Then
he makes 10.
Yeah. I mean, you could do that. He isn't happy with anything that's going on. He isn't happy not getting an extension. He went from being like, my name's on a contract. I'm going to honor the contract. I'm playing. That was in April, I think. To becoming, this guy, this intractable, go to hell people, I'm done with you, I want out. So who knows? Maybe cash makes everything work. Jim Irsay understands that. He doesn't understand a lot about life, I don't think. But he understands that money makes the world go round. And if you've got money, you can make people smile. So it would surprise me. I think that what happens is this, because I don't think that another team is going to come along and want to pay the cash that Jonathan Taylor covets and then also give the Colts the value that they covet. I don't think both can happen.
But all right, I'm going to be
we're role playing?
Yeah, we're role playing.
Nice.
You're going to be Jonathan Taylor. No, you're going to be Ballard. I'm going to be GM, Joey Bag of Donuts. Hey, Chris, you want me to give you a 1? You want me to give you a 2 and a 3? You want me to give you all kind of stuff? Let me ask you a question. Is Jonathan Taylor healthy?
Well, look, I got to have a 1 for my best player. I got an elite player here. Here, let me fix my hat so it doesn't look quite so ridiculous like it did on the sidelines last night. What I need a 1, or I can't go to my owner with that.
Is Jonathan Taylor even close to practicing?
Oh, he's healthy as a horse. His ankle's fine. His back's fine. That's all subterfuge. We're just fooling the media and fooling the fans. We don't want to put Jonathan in a bad situation. Your docs are going to look at him. You're going to clear him just... You ain't even going to have to take x-rays. You're just going to look at him and say, good to go.
If you're going to do a politician, they always put it like this, right? All right, so you're telling me Jonathan Taylor's good to go, so is he going on PUP? If I don't trade for him, is he going on PUP?
I think so.
I'm asking you as Ballard.
We're still playing. If you trade for him, you're going to activate him. But if we keep him, he's going on PUP. And we're going to negotiate this through, and it's going to work out for everybody. But we're fine where we're at. We need to get paid here. We need a first-round draft pick or the equivalent of that. Who's your best player? Because maybe you want to trade your best player for my best player.
Yeah,
how about we do that?
How about you pull this and plays Jingle Bells? I'm not giving you Patrick Mahomes for Jonathan Taylor. Last question. What's the number you think will make Jonathan Taylor happy?
Oh,
because we got to sign him if we're trading for him.
You're going to have to go 5 years, $13 million a year, and you're going to have to guarantee 40 of it. Yeah.
That's it. Clint.
Hello.
We always say this when we talk about Indianapolis. Like I say this, on our Outkick show every day about every city, but Indianapolis, like we fail to understand sometimes that in moving a player, there's two sides to it.
Yeah.
Like there's the other side to it. Watch draft day. Like there's two sides making a deal here, right?
That was so close to a good movie.
I know it was. It was close.
Very close.
And I'm not sure why.
It's just absurd.
Yeah. Like all of a sudden we're getting everything we want and we're having a LeBron James party at the end for a bunch of... Anyway. But there's two sides to a draft.
Right.
There's not one side. So my thing... Or a trade. So my thing is Colts fans, he was down a yard per carry from last year. You know the answer.
4.5 still.
I know. I was going to ask you, but I know the answer from Ballard. Well, we had issues with our offensive line. Mm-hmm. You can't put that on, but he still was 4.5. He's hurt. If I'm watching him, I'm like, this organization treated you pretty good. They drafted him, and now all of a sudden you don't want to play? Why are you going to want to play for us? Is this all about money? Is it? And I would also want to know, because I forgot about this. I've talked about Phillip Rivers not coming back for $25 million. I've talked about Andrew Luck. He walks out. We've talked about Stephon Gilmore. A guy pointed out to me, Dan, Khari Willis retired in his prime. Jack Doyle had years left. He's going. Now Costanzo. You can point to football CTE, however you want to spin it. But the fact of the matter is, for you Colts fans, there's a number of starters. Jack Doyle was a valued guy, right? Yep. Khari Willis was a valued guy. Costanzo was the rock, the anchor. And these guys, and it's obvious with Luck and everything else, but these guys were not ninth string hanger-oners at the Willie Mays playing center field at 50 years old. These guys were in their prime. That I got to know.
Here's the thing, and to your point, I think the negative about drafting guys with great character and great intellect is that at some point these guys are going to figure out that football is damaging me long-term. Right. I've got all the money I'm ever going to have to spend, so what do I need this for? And I think that's the downside. I want some kind of baller who's psychotic and who needs the game and would play until he was 70 if he could. That's a good thing. And the Colts, by kind of going through the character issue the way they do, I think they invite guys like Khari Willis, who is a tremendous individual.
Well, everybody that I mentioned is a high character person.
And they're going to have that conversation. Don't think that on the road they don't have that talk, man. When are you going to retire? Like, you see this? You say Dave Duerson killed himself.
Right.
These guys, they have that conversation, and the smart ones listen.
That's a great point, because if I'm sitting there and I have a brain, which horseshoe guys supposedly have a brain, I'm thinking about it. I'm like, man, at one point you're like, man, that's a fool. You're playing football. He's a dumbass. He should keep playing. Then all of a sudden you go, wait a second. I've seen Khari Willis. Seems pretty happy.
Yep.
Because NFL players, it's not a vacuum. There's still guys that are friends with Khari Willis. They text with him, whatever. And I'm not beating myself up. I got more money than I can spend. And at some point, I'll tell you this. At some point, as a Colt or NFL player, don't you kind of, I was in love with basketball. Like, sat in class in 8th grade, couldn't wait to get to my house to shoot hoops by myself.
Right.
In total love with it. School day off, literally rode my bike in snow, snuck through my St. Peter and Paul gym so I could just shoot hoops in the dark by myself. In love with it. And by the time I got done with Indiana, I'm like, yeah, I like it.
Yeah,
that's great. I love it. Now add 5 years in the NFL of that, and you play for different reasons, right? Maybe you play for fame. Maybe you play for money. Maybe you play because you're this close to a record or this close to, you understand. But I got to believe that guys, more it happens, the more it snowballs. Guys see Jack Doyle living a pretty good life. Costanzo, Kahari Willis. Guys.
Costanzo's a big one because Ryan Kelly and Braden Smith and Quentin all played with him for 3 years.
Sure.
They're still friends.
And they know
They get it. And so, hey, to put it in what has become our vocabulary now, you've got your bag.
Got your bag, baby.
So fulfill the contract, keep your
Particularly
bag.
When you know your team isn't good enough. Like, you're telling me that Quentin Nelson, now I understand the rah-rah, we're going to kick their ass. Yeah. But there's got to be a part of you goes, this quarterback's going to be good.
Yeah.
But he's not Patrick Mahomes. He's not Lamar Jackson. He's not Josh Allen. And we can go on. He's not
and is
Justin
he going to
Herbert.
become that
by
by
the time?
Right.
By the time my brain is, I got to start thinking, is my brain going to become a little bit of mushy here? You can't tell me that doesn't factor in.
Or does he think, like, I just want to knock people down?
Yeah, maybe.
You want people like that, right? And maybe, like Quentin Nelson bugged me last night, the 2 penalties on the first drive. I was like, ay. What are we doing? You're a $20 million man and you're jumping and then you're holding? What are we doing?
In your sixth year or whatever.
That shit up right now.
So, bottom line, and this is the bottom line, not to you, but to me, and degenerates like me.
Yeah.
No more of your happy horse shit. It was May and we're all happy and we're all okay. Now we're talking my money.
Yeah.
And I'm going to use you. 6.5 is the number. I saw where our boy Bob Kravitz said easy money betting the under. 6.5 is season total for those of you out there that don't speak the vernacular. I got to go under.
The only thing that would tempt me to the over is that they're in the AFC South.
I know.
They could steal one before there's a lot of film. They could steal it at home against the Jags.
I agree.
They could legit beat the Texans.
Twice.
Then all of a sudden you're 2-0, and all you got to do over the last 15 is cobble together 5 more wins, and you hit the over.
I know.
You go 5-10, you're in. So that said, judging regardless of schedule, looking at what this team is, 5 wins seems like a kind of, I've been saying 7. I'm coming off that because I don't get who's going to stop anybody in that secondary. What wide receiver group are you going to stop? Last night you didn't have A.J. Brown. You didn't have Devontae Smith. You didn't have, they didn't have their weapons.
Didn't have the quarterback.
And still, Deion Kane.
Oh, not Deion Kane.
Caught 6 balls.
I know. I saw that.
Oof.
He's on the list of the Indy Star / Holders / Keefers heroes of camp. Deion Kane is on that list.
He was a Mr. August.
Yeah.
Sure.
I don't think those guys were there when Duron Carter was killing it here. I don't think he was here. There was another guy. Who am I don't know. But
Strawn's still with the club, and he's that guy.
He's that
Mr.
guy.
August.
I saw Ogletree made a nice play down the field. Looked good doing it. Looked good.
It ran through a guy,
Yeah.
and I know that's a 2, but I like
care.
The tight end position is wacky. Some people have them keeping 5. You cannot keep 5 tight ends. That's crazy. That just says, look, we got such shit everywhere else. I don't care if I got to cut another defensive lineman to keep a mediocre tight end.
Ken, I got 2 putters. That means I got no putters. I'm walking around with 2 putters is like 2 quarterbacks. If you got 2 putters, you don't have a putter. If you got 5 tight ends, you don't have a tight end.
In your bag simultaneously
right now,
is the 14.
I got 14 clubs, 2 putters. I don't have a
we got to play some golf.
That's what everybody says. It's like, man. So if we got 5 tight ends, I will tell you when Ogletree caught it, I was like, whoa. And I've always liked Jelani Woods and Granson. I'd keep those 3 guys, and I'm cutting Mo Alley. Jesus, no.
He's gone. He's got to go.
He hasn't played.
No, he's got to go. I cut him immediately. That's the easiest cut of all, and he could be your best tight end. But I don't care because he hadn't separated himself from these guys. I like Mallory. I like him. He can catch a football. He's all right. I like Ogletree. It doesn't matter. And Granson. Whatever three you
Woods
wind up
caught
keeping,
touchdowns last year.
Yeah.
I like guys that catch touchdowns.
Yeah, right.
I go back to this. I'm going back to a lot of things today, but I remember saying on my show in Indy that Colts don't have any playmakers. They got one, or whoever it was then, I forget. And McAfee calls me, he goes, "Hey, dumbass, does flipping a field 80 yards make me a playmaker?"
Yeah.
I go, "Ooh, maybe it does."
Yeah.
So, all right, does catching touchdown passes make you a playmaker? Ooh, I think it does. That's why I like that Woods kid, because he seemed to catch touchdown. I don't know, maybe he got two, I don't know, but he seemed to be the guy they were looking.
He's a tall fella.
He's a big dude.
Yeah.
So is Ogletree.
Let me give you the most interesting but meaningless thing that happened last night.
Oh, good.
And it's late in the game. Ellinger throws an interception. And the Eagles guy, a defensive back, so you think he's fast. Looks like he's going to take it to the house. Blake Freeland.
Oh, lineman.
The offensive lineman who is like, is he going to play? You know, he's not a rotational guy even. He didn't come play tackle. Chases down the defensive back. Legit, decent speed. And I was like, maybe we got a sixth tight end. Maybe we could give this, hang an 80-something on this guy. Because that guy was legit, for an offensive tackle, he was wacky fast. But it's meaningless. Who cares about straight line speed out of a backup right tackle? It doesn't make any difference.
Well,
but it was cool.
I'll tell you who cares. The defensive back that got caught.
Yeah, right.
Like,
right.
He got
they're ripping his ass.
He's gone.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus, son. Like, that's like a third-team all-Mick linebacker. Like, hey, scrappy, he makes a play, but hey, freaking the 300. I'll tell you who I did. Hey, but you know who I did like? I did like Evan Hall.
Yeah.
I liked him. Again, I used when I see a guy, I didn't know who he was, and I was hoping, because you had talked about Evan Hall.
Yeah.
I was hoping that was Evan Hall, and not like some seventh-teamer that they just brought in that looked good. They care enough to draft a kid, right?
Right.
And I thought he looked. Look, he's not Jonathan Taylor. I'm not saying that, but I thought he looked pretty good.
He's a guy like even in rookie minicamp, your eyes went to him. You're like,
yeah,
he's 26. Evan Hall. I have to do that like 6 times
of course
before I get the name to the number.
Because their team is like our wardrobe. It's just vanilla. Nobody.
But he does what he's supposed to do as hard as he can do it every single time.
And it looked like he had a little burst. It looked like he to me, again, he looked like an NFL running back.
He reminded me of the constant, like the Patriots always had that guy. Always had the guy who just looked scrappy and he held onto the ball with 2 hands and he ran where he was supposed to every single time, never dropped a pass. That's kind of Evan Hall to me.
I'll give you a Colts analogy that I thought immediately. Who was the running back Brown?
Donald Brown.
Donald Brown.
Yeah,
he reminded me of Donald Brown.
Yeah.
Like, for whatever the reason, maybe he's not. Maybe somebody that knows his background or whatever says he's not Donald Brown. But I thought Donald Brown, and whatever happened to Donald Brown shouldn't have happened to Donald Brown. Donald Brown had too much talent to have the career he had. And maybe Donald Brown didn't understand who he was, because he was like this tall and a really smart, good-looking guy, and he was dating this big blonde who just was sloppy. You got to know who you are. If you're Donald Brown...
It's like Casey Kasem with that Gene Kasem
lady. That's exactly what it was. That's exactly... And if you're Donald Brown, you got to know, like... You got to be dating, like, I don't know, Halle Berry. Because Donald Brown was a great-looking dude.
Yeah.
Really smart. Yes, that's a perfect Casey Kasem with this mountain of woman with a beehive hairdo. And I'm like, you got to know who you are here,
right.
people. Come on. Give it, help a brother
Why
out.
is she here? Why is she dating the radio guy? Let me think through this for a second.
You're talking about defensive backs. I saw the Flowers kid. Blackman made a block, got a hand on.
Right.
Rodney Thomas was out there. Again, it's the same thing like there's nothing there.
No.
You're good. But all right, I'm going to say this on it. There was a play left sideline. I think Flowers was one, and I don't know the other kid's name, but it was a name
Baker?
I didn't. Yes.
Okay.
Good-looking athlete.
Yeah.
Good-looking athlete. Like, long, they came to the sideline, and it just hit me again. I'm watching, and I didn't have the sound down because I got tired of it. It was like a Colts Richardson propaganda broadcast with Herb Street and Al Michaels, who I love. But I'm like, shit, I can't do this anymore. So I turned on some, like, I'm really big into watching Instagram Family Guy videos and Bill Burr videos.
Yeah, you're right. I like Bill Burr.
But I'm watching, and I'm thinking to myself, that Baker guy, good-looking athlete.
Yeah.
Is he a free agent? Was he a draft choice?
He was a free agent, right?
Yeah.
He did. They didn't draft him, but not. I think he had played someplace else. No, he played here. He was here, but I think he was on the practice squad last year. Because I keep thinking they call him DJ, but it's like Daryl Baker, and I can see his locker. So he was here, but I think he was practice squad last year.
Well, I wasn't mad at how athletic he looked. You know what I mean?
He's the best of the bunch.
Is he?
Dallas Flowers. Dallas Flowers did the thing on that opening kickoff where I see it, I'd cut a guy. Where he just acts, he's flanking the guy with the ball on special teams, not making any kind of inroads to tackling him, just running along with him like he's guarding him.
And that thing went for 70 yards.
Yeah. After Tommy, however you pronounce his name, spun the guy around and off he. Flowers, I was like, who the God, that guy? 33 Flowers, just pacing with him.
Why aren't we tackling? Why aren't we tackling?
Business decisions.
Maybe he's, because of the lack of anybody any good, maybe Flowers has made a decision that I'm on the team. That's a business decision.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I don't think he was on the team a year ago. I'm saying he had to fight to get on the team.
He did, and he fought in as a special team.
That's what I'm saying.
He wasn't going to be until the end of the season. Then he became a rotational corner.
That's what I'm saying. So a year ago, he would have made that tackle because he wasn't on the team.
Yeah, right.
Now this year,
just the way Jalen Jones is hitting anything that moves.
Yes, he's killing people.
Right.
Who did Jalen Jones remind me of? You mentioned Antonio Morrison. I think it was Antonio Morrison that came in here and was just clocking people.
Right.
And insane in the locker room.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Sure.
Not in the good way, insane. Not the happy insane, but kind of like it'd look at you like,
my
you
bad.
want to talk? I would do it on purpose just to like amuse myself. Antonio, you want to talk for a minute? You get that look. Go, geez.
Who told me the same thing about that Landry? Was Jar? No. What was his first name? Laron Landry.
Yeah.
They said it was like Debo on Friday. Like he would show up and he's all ripped and it'd be like...
You want to talk? He would keep his head in the locker as he talked. He'd talk with his back to you and his head in the locker. And then there was Gosder Cherilus, who generally was a pretty good guy, but it was just, are you ready to play? And Chap came up to me one day and he goes, your turn. I said, I'll do it. What do I care? I'm like Mikey in the Wheaties commercial. Hey, Gosder, you want to talk?
But go ahead.
No. Okay, fair enough. Yeah. I'm always that guy. I love talking to guys who don't like to talk.
Is Richardson in the locker room? Is he... I mean, he seems affable as hell. So do quarterbacks talk like other players? You go to his locker, or is there like a set day where the quarterback talks?
Quarterback talks on a day.
That's a day.
But it varies. Like, I think Luck was always on a Friday. Reggie Wayne was always a Friday guy.
So if you go in the locker room, do you talk to them if they're around? Or you only talk to them on their day?
No. Yeah, they like Matt Conti gives you, it's and here he comes, and the cameras all go, whoop. And then what I do, and this is just because I enjoy these kinds of things, I find the WTHR Channel 13 camera. And I get as close to the head of the quarterback as I can. And Calabro always comes in and goes, Sterling, I spent 3 hours looking at you in editing yesterday. And it just,
Calabro, according to the Indiana guys, is the America's laziest broadcaster.
I really like him.
Do you?
Now, I don't think he's lazy.
They say he doesn't do shit. But if there's a big game, Dave Calabro will all of a sudden be like, hey, I want to come down. I want to speak for 20 minutes to blah, 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 blah. That may be inaccurate, but that's what I was always told.
What people got pissed at is 13 had a deal with Luck. So
is that right?
got luck by himself every week in a one-on-one.
Okay.
So,
no, that's not, I applaud Calabro.
But Dave is a pro.
Is he?
He is the pro's pro. He knows what's expected of him. He delivers that. He's never a headache to management at THR. He knows they say, please do this. He says, absolutely. And he goes and he does it. I like him a lot. You would like Dave.
All right. I'm in on him then. If you like him, I like him. But they always said, like, Channel 13 doesn't do shit. And then all of a sudden, let's say Indiana's playing Kentucky, and now we're supposed to bend over backwards to them.
There might be some of that. But okay. Like, if you can do it, if you can get it. They're the highest ranked outfit in town. So, people listen.
All right.
Channel 6 tries to get something extra. Yeah, click. It's like the opposing GM with Ballard.
Yeah.
6. Ha! Yeah, I feel bad for Brad. Brad Brown's the guy.
He's a nice
nobody
guy,
watches
right?
6.
No, nobody watches 6.
So.
No, let me go back to something. I had this conversation today on Outkick. Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer's catching hell because his Swamp Kings thing didn't put out all the arrests and be negative. But I said this. All the people that are mad at the Swamp Kings for not talking about Urban Meyer and the arrests and all that shit, nobody said a word about Michael Jordan having numerous affairs with women, criminal activity and gambling with bookies and shit. It's all a function of being on the right side of the media. Urban's on the wrong side now. Jordan's on the right side. Whatever Jordan does that's stupid or nefarious, it's because he's competitive.
Yeah.
And then the other thing with Urban, and this is interesting to me relative to the Colts. One of his great players, Brandon Seiler, came out and said, look, Urban treats you like a superstar if you were a superstar. He treats you like shit if you weren't. And he told you to go work and then become a superstar, and then I'll treat you like that.
Yeah.
See, I kind of like that.
Yeah.
I do. Like, the Colts to me are too kumbaya-ish. The Colts to me are like, we're about relationships and all this shit.
We're all the same.
Get out of here.
And they are all the same. On a scale of 1 to 10, they're all 5s. Except for Richardson. I mean, an elite player, they're going to send off for, pocket change. That's craziness. That's just stupid.
I was the guy that cared about the walk-ons.
Jonathan Taylor.
I was stupid about the walk-ons. But then you came on this show and you're like, hey, Ballard's the king of number 52 and 53.
Oh, yeah.
He loves that 50. And I was thinking to myself about that when I was talking this morning on Outkick. I'm like, you know what? Urban didn't give a shit. He did at one point, I think, when he was first coaching. But why would, people, all right, I'm all over the place here, and I apologize. People talk about position battles. I don't give a shit who the third string or the fifth tight end is. I don't care. I want to know, is Jonathan Taylor playing? Is Richardson real? Can Alec Pierce step up this year? Is Pittman legit? Can we find a corner? I don't give a flying fuck about who's winning the 5th cornerback battle. I don't give a shit. I don't want to hear about it. I don't know. Nothing.
I am with you 128%.
You are? Yes!
There are guys, and I would be this guy too. I have to work harder than anybody. I'm going to work 16 hours a day, and I'm going to uncover that one guy who gives us a chance to win a game on special teams. I got Ed Dodds building files on everybody in the NFL and anybody who ever played in the NFL. Give me a guy, Ed. We're down. Danny Pinter hurt himself last night.
Oh, my God.
So we got to get a third-string center in here stat. Give me a third straight, you know what I mean? And I'm going to hold the guy accountable to that. It's just idiotic.
Don't care.
No, it makes no sense. You're not going to win a game because of these people, but you're that guy. You're the grinder. You're the Tom Crean who at 10 o'clock at night is watching some AAU tournament in Toledo, Ohio, trying to find a guy who he can invite to be a walk-on. What? Why? And then you've got coaches, and a bunch of these guys who don't work at all.
Oh, yeah.
They win and cash checks, and they play golf all day.
And they figure out, I'm getting about 4 or 5 stars. What do I got to do to get him? All right. Oh, who was the guy? Was it Tom Penders? No, I forget who it was. Was like, I coach till practice is going to be over at 5:30 because I'm going to be at the country club either golfing or having a drink at 5:40.
Yeah, right.
And I'm sitting in there with Coach Knight watching, did Magnus Pelkowski lower his shoulder with his hands above his elbows to come off of a screen.
Right.
But if I ever went back to coaching, I'd cheat my nuts off if there is even cheating. I'd get some great players and we'd win a bunch of games. And
then deny everything if you're accused. I did nothing.
Jim Harbaugh. My own Michigan man, my own school admits that I'm a cheater and a liar and suspend him for 3 games. And he's hailed as a hero.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Yeah. College coaching is beautiful these days. It's beautiful. See, in the NFL, and I learned this, I did not know that. I give a rat's ass about stars. Major League Baseball, okay, I'll give you the guy that helps the team win. I'll give that to you. But when it gets to the playoffs, I want a fucking star.
Yeah.
Like 182 games, I want the guy that lays down the bunt.
The king move of all time in this realm is Mike Ditka with the Saints, where he must have been woefully unprepared for the draft, so he sent the whole draft class for Ricky Williams.
Yes.
You know, so he's not being held accountable for not doing any work to prepare for the draft because he dumped it all. He didn't give a shit about some 7th-round jackass who's, not going to make the team. He goes out and gets the star. He's going to hang his hat on that guy, and he goes plays golf.
Who was the guy?
And has Rick Venturi do all his work because Rick was the associate head coach.
Who was the guy? He was from Michigan. He had long blonde hair. His brothers played in the NFL too. And the Colts drafted him to be a special teams guy a few years ago. I can see him, but I can't remember who he is. And I remember thinking to myself, well, that's stupid. Like, what? Okay, I get it. Back in the day, you had some great special teams guys that would Steve something or some, I don't know, that knock your head off. But now everybody's that.
The Billy Bates
guy
with
now
the Cowboys.
There's so many great athletes now.
Yeah,
that
right.
No. I want to say the guy's name was Winslow, but I could be wrong about that. But the dude is like, he was there to, like, well, we're brought in to play special teams. There is.
Yeah.
Like, fuck off. Like, you know what? Go make that 4th linebacker, that 4th tight end, who's an athlete, looks like he can play any sport. Go make him the gun. Go make him the guy on the edge that's going to block the kick. Draft some freaking guy.
3 phases, Dan.
No fuck.
3 phases. 3 phases. We're going to dominate the 3rd, and we're going to get beat 33-2.
Yeah, but I'll tell you this much. We had a punt return, and I saw Bubba yell. Is Bubba Ventrone still there?
He's gone.
Good. Where's he at?
I don't know.
He gave me a headache. He was like the guy.
He's all about Bubba. Nobody made more money from Hard Knocks than Bubba.
Bubba was
had that wired.
you with the Channel 13 camera. That was Bubba with the Hard Knocks camera.
Bubba
was like,
what room they at?
Where's Mensa guy? Where's Mensa guy? Hey coach, I got a plan. And the media loved it here in town. These idiots are like, Bubba Ventrone has to be kept. I'd get that fucking guy out of here so fast his head would spin.
I'll bet you in each of those meetings that they showed, and he goes, EJ, I think you're going to get one this week. Or Zaire, you're going to get one this week.
Yeah.
And then Dallas, you're going to get one this, so that they could cut it, and he's not going to be wrong. He's got chips on every number.
If some guy finally got one, which he did, and I'll give him credit, hey, we got that video over here.
Yeah, right.
Of him saying this guy's going to go. Oh, man, Bubba Ventrone was the Chad Kelly of coaches.
The guy,
Jordan Glasgow. That's who it was. Jordan Glasgow. Thank you. You got to get rid of this thing because I got to see see the quotes here.
He was a Michigan guy.
Yes, as I said, Michigan, like his brothers all played or something. Oh, long hair. This guy.
You know what? He was, because I watched him, he was at the back of the line, every linebacker drill. And like Darius Leonard, he was Darius then, was just like gliding and really fast. And then Jordan, like, running, so much effort expended to go so slow.
Every team needs guys like him. Every team needs guys like Darius Leonard. I always said about Jay Edwards, Coach Knight would get pissed and, you're pissed. He didn't play hard. He had 23, 8, 9 assists and guarded the other team's best player. Yeah. But he did it in a,
he did it while stoned and half-hammered.
Oh, probably, yeah.
He told, you probably know the guy who he told, and this is secondhand, so I don't mean to cast aspersions based on secondhand, but 4 Michelobes and a joint before every game he ever played.
See, I was told later on by a guy that roomed with him that road games was an Old English 800.
Really?
Wrapped up in ice between the... between the pregame meal, which was 3 hours before you got back to your, it usually lasts an hour, hour 15. You got back to your room, let's say you had an hour before the bus left. And that's when the Old English came out from underneath. That's why, that's what somebody rumor.
How much money did that poor kid spend? My God Almighty, he'd have made millions and millions. You can shoot like that?
Yeah.
He was the best shooter I ever saw. Was he the best shooter you ever saw in Indiana?
I'll stay with Alford.
Will you?
I'll stay with Alford. And I'll stay with Jay Alford and Calvert were, to me, those are the three. Now you put them in any. Calvert is a mid-range. Calvert couldn't shoot 3-point shots.
Did Calvert and Jay crossed over? They did?
No.
So Calvert, Jay left. Linden and Calvert did. And Jay and Calvert butted. Right?
Yeah, 89 and then 90.
Okay.
Yeah, we lost to Lou Campanella.
God, could you imagine having both those guys? Jeez, Pete.
Yeah, and I don't think either would have influenced either. Like Calvert Cheney, the most straight-laced guy, would have had no impact on Jay Edwards, and Jay Edwards, the most crazy guy, drugged and all that shit, would have had no impact on Calvert. Like, you need leadership. No, both would have, and they would have been
fine.
who they were. Yeah,
they get along on the court. We get along.
Just go get 30 each, and let's figure it out. All right. So bottom line, you're not changing your expectation, or you're changing
I'm ratcheting it down a little bit. Yeah. Because that defensive backfield's just terrible. Like they are bad on the back end.
Here's what frustrated me about the broadcast last night. They kept saying, other than the Richardson stuff, they kept talking about the pass rush, the lack of pass rush. But you know what they never did, or at least maybe if they did, I didn't hear it. They never talked about why. Like when you're on TV, you're supposed to talk about why. Why is there no pass rush?
Herb Street never talks about why. No. I'm not sure that he knows
That's what I'm saying.
About the game.
I agree with that. Yeah. And they keep telling me, like Reese Davis came on, and I love Reese. Reese is a friend. He came on, and I said, Reese, you guys, you don't really have a coaching presence. Oh, no, Herbie's the son of a coach, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, okay, fine. But they never talked about the draft capital used, the money spent, guys like Ngakoue used, Deo and Kwity Paye. They never talked about that. They never talked about maybe schematically everybody talks about Gus Bradley, but, you're so smart, figure out a pass rush.
Odangbo is going to be different this year.
You like him?
He's going to be pretty good.
Well, I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, he flashes.
Okay,
what a coach thing to say.
No,
but you watch and you're like,
okay, Stephen Holder, did he flash?
And you saw last night, even though it was against twos, when he got that sack, he beat the guy on the edge and then beat him again and kept after it. I like Odangbo more than I like Kwity. So, and that shouldn't be the case, I suppose.
Well, they were, I would like to like them both. There are teams that have two.
That would be a good thing. What a good thing that would be. Wouldn't that be a joy?
But you got to say why on broadcast.
Yeah.
Like, you got to get into the why.
I can't have what happened last night. This is a national broadcast.
Yes.
It's Thursday Night Football. These are professionals, Al Michaels and Kirk Herbstreit. Hey, Jason, what'd your mother think about you and Travis when you were kids and you were so crazy? Are you out of your mind? No. Even at a party over beers, you don't ask that kind of cloying question to a guy. Nobody cares. Are you insane? This is the broadcast? What'd your mom think? Jesus, my head almost exploded off my neck. What a cluster.
We've moved from Gronkowski now to the Kelceys.
Yeah, right.
Like we have. I had that on, and I saw that Travis Kelce was very, very animated. And because I turned the sound down.
Yeah,
I couldn't listen anymore. I'd had enough. Like, I don't care if it's preseason. The NFL. Would you agree with this? I get that CBS and NBC and ABC and Amazon, they paid a lot of money. You were in management. They don't want headaches, blah, blah, blah. But you don't have to. You can call it like it is. You don't have to always promote. This isn't a WWE.
Right.
This isn't boxing.
Right.
You could have a bag of sand broadcast a game and people are going to watch.
Right.
So just add to it with information, opinion. You don't have to promote. It doesn't have to be a total promotion.
And I'll tell you this, and I'm not always generous with praise about 107.5 The Fan or the Colts, But boy, do they let that radio station, for being kind of the partner in town, did they let those guys get away with saying a lot of smack about the Colts in a way that when I was there, the phone rang in Severino's office, and then my phone rang and I was in Severino's office. Then I'm calling Craig Kelly and I'm saying, hey, what can we do? Okay, sorry. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if they're just asleep at the switch and not listening or what the hell's going on, but they're being called out like crazy. I think it is good. I think that those guys are honest to the extent that they know stuff. It's good. If you don't know stuff and you're hypercritical, that's a bad thing.
That's a bad thing.
But like that broadcast last night, it was clear that those guys weren't fully invested. They did a professional job, but they don't care about the result. Okay, I know it's preseason, but if you don't care about the game you're broadcasting, don't broadcast it. Stay out of the booth if you don't care.
Well, I agree with that. I've always thought this when I broadcast. I didn't want to go easy. Like the easy thing to say is, well, look at his combine numbers.
Right.
I want to know, I want somebody sometime to tell me why was Anthony Richardson relatively, or actually...
Give me something specific.
I want to know why he was unsuccessful in college.
Yeah.
And became the 4th pick in the draft. Like, why Florida, a place where they won national championships, why was he at the helm and they weren't any good? Why? Was it him? Why was he unsuccessful? He was successful enough to be the 4th pick in the draft, which made his college career a success.
Right.
But why was the team and why were his numbers? And I want a football guy to tell me that. And I have not heard that. And Kent, I'm telling you, whenever I see, when I'm driving, in fact, I was driving last night and this happened on one of the NFL channels. I guess it was Sirius NFL channel. Right. They were talking about the Colts and they were talking about Anthony Richardson. And all it was guys talking about the easy stuff. His combine, thought to be inaccurate, great runner, no question he was going to be the starting quarterback. But nobody has ever said, well, this is why he wasn't, or this is why they didn't at frickin' Florida. And because I think if I know that, then I can look for the same things
right
in games here. Right. I can look for, is he legitimately good, or is this just an idiot at the Indy Star saying he's good because they want access, or is this just a national guy that's said Frank Reich is a great coach spewing bullshit and he hasn't paid attention.
Right.
I want to tell me why he wasn't good.
That requires knowledge.
And
real
work.
Knowledge.
And work.
And you got to look at all the tape, and you got to figure out whether the O-line was any good and the receivers, were they bad? How many were legit drops? How many were bad reads? How many were really overthrown? You got to have guys who really know it. And the only guy that I know like that is Rick.
Yeah.
Rick does the work. And congratulations to the Colts for having him on the radio broadcast, because he'll be honest.
Yeah.
He'll tell you stuff. He did this yesterday. I heard him with Matt Taylor. No, he was on with John in the pregame. I was in the car. And they were talking about the Tuesday practice. And Rick said, they didn't win the day. And this is kind of unlike Rick, but they didn't win the day, but they won the experience. I was like, what?
What?
It was like, I knew what he was saying.
I do too.
That they got better because of it, but they were clearly not the better team. And that the Colts and that Jim Irsay feels comfortable enough with Rick to employ him in that role where he's going to be honestly critical. Good for the Colts, because that doesn't happen.
No, I totally agree. But I want to know why.
Yeah.
And I want to be able to watch and then see, okay, because everybody, I told you this before, and you told me this. We knew what was going to happen in camp. Every play that Anthony Richardson made was going to be great, and every play they didn't make, you're not going to see.
Right.
And we know that, and that's what I saw last night. I just want to know what to look for. There you go.
Yeah, right. You want to, and you would do that on ESPN. You would give people the thing.
You want to give them the why.
Right, here, and so you'd have your skit, and you'd show this, you do this, you set a screen like this, or you hedge in this way, And that was always really interesting. It gave me something to watch.
Give you something to watch.
And I learned something.
Well, I always go back to Steve Stone, all right? If he throws a curveball in the outside corner, he's going to get him. If he throws a fastball, it's going to be a hard hit ball, and sure enough, fastball, hard hit ball. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
That was brought, that to me is analysis.
Right.
Analysis isn't regurgitation.
Right.
Analysis is what the word says and means. Analyze what you're there to do.
Yeah.
Watch and tell me based on your experience. You're not there because you were a carpenter. You're there because you're a football coach, you're a basketball coach, or that's why you're there. So
well, that's one of the reasons you're there. You're also there because you can say in 8 seconds exactly what needs to be said in the way it needs to be said, where people find it compelling.
That's what I told Urban. When Urban asked me, he was doing games, I said, do your coach thing, imagining that players are bored. So you got to say that in 8 seconds.
Beautiful.
10 seconds. Yeah.
Great advice.
Well, was this a good show? And you guys showed up today.
Fantastic.
250 of you here.
Remember to subscribe
and
like.
Subscribe mostly.
Be hospitable. Hoosier hospitality demands that you like this video.
And subscribe. Subscribe to Two Big Brains. Subscribe to Kent Sterling channel. I mean, what are we doing?
We're going crazy, and we're giving away that, as soon as I get it, I swear to God, the Anthony Richardson Indiana Knights jersey that is going to be a beautiful keepsake. It's going to be sent someplace to a subscriber of both this station and Kent Sterling. How about that?
Can I tell you? We will get into a lot of gambling talk, Russell, but let's give us something to gamble on, please. Speaking of gambling, I played golf yesterday, and it was 100 degrees in Northwest Indiana, and I said this on my Outkick show, and I'll say it here. Other than having sex with Lee Ross or playing basketball, I've never sweated so much in my life.
Oh,
it was unbelievable.
Hey, you can't grip the club.
Oh, I couldn't at the end.
It's miserable.
It was effing believable. We were playing at Innsbruck Country Club up in Indiana, Northwest Indiana, and I got in the shower. I told Lee, I'm having a beer and I'm taking a shower.
At the same time? Beer in the shower?
I've done that before.
Oh, that's the college move. I always enjoyed that.
No, but I could not wait. I'm in the shower, and it was one of the great showers of all time. It was one of those circular things that had like Kramer bought it from the Yugoslavians. You know what I mean? It was coming down, and I'm looking around going, this is the greatest shower ever. And I thought, oh, this beer's going to be good. This beer's going to be. Went upstairs. Lee had gone in to take a shower. Bart Fox was playing with us. He went in after me, took a shower. It was, I don't know about a top 5 beer, but it was in the Hall of Fame.
Nice. You are not afraid to drive to go play golf.
Fantastic. We went to the White Sox game. My outing, we had, Benetti gave an experience away. Gold box seats, meet him. And my buddy Kevin Custer's a huge White Sox fan. He bought it, so I matched it. So we got 4 seats. Benetti's guy gave us the option. There was a club area where you could sit outside but come back into it, not very air conditioned because it was so freaking hot. And then we went to dinner with Benetti. So we part of the experience was we paid for dinner. We had bottles of wine, and it was like a $500 dinner in Chicago. But
you do not get cheap in the experiential stuff that you give away.
No.
You make it special for people.
We made it good, and Benetti made it even better. So we were up there and did the show from there, and then drove back. But yeah, and it was a good game. White Sox won in the 10th, and it was. But Kent, I'm telling you, man, it was so. I'd never sweated like that in my life.
Yeah,
it was freaking.
That's misery to me. I couldn't live in Florida. Like we got friends down in Florida, I couldn't do it.
No,
it's too sweaty.
All right, Lee asked me this.
Yeah,
and I'm going to ask you this. I'm going to ask our listeners this because this was an interesting question. She goes, "Would you rather?" In 100-degree stifling heat like it was, would you rather be playing golf or sitting at a beach?
I'd rather be playing golf.
Me too.
But I'd rather be in an air-conditioned bar someplace with a bunch of TVs and a lot of ladies.
That's not on the table. All right? The question is, this guy, Jody, says playing golf. Me too. Like, I'm not sit at the beach guy for long.
Let me ask you this question. So I go to, Julie and I go to Florida with mutual friends of ours who worked at Emmis, and they're going to the beach. I don't want to go to the beach. Purdue's going to play basketball. They're playing Michigan State, and there's a tiki bar at Fort Myers Beach. I knew they had TVs. I could just sit there, drink fruity cocktails, and talk to people like I'm in an elevator. I'm never going to see them again. So chat people up and make it fun for me and them. Was I rude in not going to the beach with our hosts and with Julie to go to the tiki bar and enjoy myself?
No.
Okay.
No, because
I'd have been miserable.
Were you on an all-inclusive vacation where everybody had to do everything together?
No, but I always feel bad.
I do too.
Like,
Now, here's the bigger question. Did the tiki bar, because when I see tiki bar, when I hear tiki bar, two things I hear. One, hot, two, overrated. Was it inside? Was there air conditioning?
Outside.
Oh.
No, it was outside. It was in back of this place, and I had a great time. And then they came up. They left the beach. And it's like, I'm the life of the party.
You
I'm
had
part
it
of this
already
guy
set.
and that guy. I knew everybody's name.
Yeah.
And that's really, like, I don't do that I don't do that very often. And they're like, what the hell has happened to you? This is an entirely new human being. You've coordinated a social event for yourself and for your own pleasure. I said,
Is that what Vacation Kent is?
Yeah, that is Vacation Kent. I don't wear this. I got the Hawaiian shirts on and I'm loud and hey, how you I could not be friendlier. Non-Vacation Kent enjoys his solitude.
Non-Vacation Kent, in the same type of environment, goes to Wolfie's and sends out pictures of famous people. Who was it? Who was the one guy that's always there?
Leslie
Nielsen.
Always. His boat's
Moment
right
of
there.
silence is dead, right?
Yeah.
Moment of silence. Okay, fine, thank you. That was enough. But
Robert Loggia is there quite a bit. Mike Love from the Beach Boys, sure. All right, hey, watch Dan every morning on Outkick.
Yeah, 9 to 11. Listen to Ken every morning down in Bloomington settling. Can you imagine? You're talking to all those crazy people down in Bloomington about political and social issues and government issues. That's what you do every morning.
Yeah.
That's why I've always said this. He's the smartest guy I know. Could you imagine me and Van Pasterman and Otter Creek? Hey, I don't know. They put a fucking bus here in Bloomington. That's good. And somebody calls in, the fumes.
We got to get rid of the scooters in Bloomington. Scooters. They are a pox on the culture in Bloomington. We'll talk to you next week.
See you.